Hello and welcome to Harvest to You. I'm Pastor Mark, and it is a blessing to have you with us today. Listen, before we start the sermon, I want you to know about harvesttoyou.org. This is a space where you can find additional resources like sermons and devotionals, even a book I recently wrote. It's also a space where you can request prayer. I know that life can be hard, even lonely sometimes, and we would love to come alongside you with resources, equipping, and prayer for your life. Head on over to harvesttoyou.org.
To Psalm 100. Psalm 100. I know that we have stood and then be seated and be seated a couple times. I'm going to do it one more time if you're able. If you're not able or if it's uncomfortable for you, don't stress about it. But if you're able, stand with me. We're going to read Psalm 100 together. Just 5 verses. I'm going to read the odd numbered verses if you join me on the even. So I'll read 1 through 5 and we'll do them together on verses 2 and 4. Here is Psalm 100. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Together in verse 2. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. For the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations. You may be seated. This psalm is very short, 5 verses in length, as you may have noticed, yet powerfully poignant in what it summons from every heart and every single life. There are 2 things I think you need to know from the psalm, and there's 2 things I think you need to do from the psalm. I want to start with what you need to know. Verses 1, 2, and 4 give us commands and what we need to do, but I'm going to start with verses 3 and 5 on what you need to know. If you would notice in verse number 3, it starts with, know ye. Here's something that you need to know, that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us. Here's what you need to know. He made us, so the implication of that is our lives are not ours to spend however we want. We need this truth in our life, that there is a creator and we are his creation. That there is someone who is not just a souped up version of ourselves, but is altogether different, higher. That is a different being who has powers and wisdom that we know not of. We need this truth for our life. Think about this truth in contrast to your own life right now and look within. What ails you, what troubles you, what spins you up, what makes you anxious on the inside, and contrast that stuff, or maybe that thing that you fear the most, that thing that keeps you up at night. Put that in contrast with God and ask yourself, does this thing that worries me have on its resume, maker of heaven and earth? And if that thing does not, then you know that you have someone who is altogether different and more powerful than whatever this is that troubles you. Think about this truth in relationship to our world. I'll share as the sermon goes on about some of our trip in Honduras and what we were able to experience. Just an amazing week that we had together as a missions team in Honduras. But we got to see so much of the world and how much sadness and sickness and poverty exists in our world. And oftentimes when you look at the world and you think about what ails us, like as humanity, if you're anything like me, you feel a little bit out of your depth. Like, what am I going to do to fix all of this? Well, thank God that we have a God who is altogether different, who has power and wisdom. And like when you come to Psalm 100, it tells you you have a God, and this God is the creator. This God made you. And when you think about this God, you should worship him. We're going to get to that in a minute, but so much of the psalm is to worship this God, right? We don't come to church to do navel gazing. We don't come to church to look in a mirror. We come to church to look through a window and get a picture of God and say, God, we want to worship you. We want to praise you. We want to tell you that you are awesome. And because he's awesome, we can trust you. We can put our cares on you. Why? Because we know that he's God and we know that he made us. We know that he's special. And because he made us, we belong to him. He is able to require things of us because he is the one who made us when it's all said and done. Then there's this truth that is in verse number 3 and 5. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Verse number 5 said, the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting. His truth endureth to all generations. He's the one who made us, so you don't belong to yourself. He's also good. So we're loved sheep before we're useful servants. We will talk about being useful servants in a moment, but before we get there, you need to know that you're a loved sheep. That he is the shepherd, you are the sheep, he is good, and his mercy is everlasting. Now, this would have been a wild concept at the time it was written. In the ancient world, you had all these ancient deities, these primitive deities who were not known for being loving and kind and gracious and generous. Those gods were gods that you had to appease. They were gods that you had to curry favor with. They were gods that if you trifled with them in any way, shape, or form, they would toy with you. The gods were like you were their plaything, right? They had no concern for you. They didn't care about you. Like they would squash you for the fun of it. And you just tried to stay out of their way. This is not at all what is portrayed for us here with the pen of David. He says, no, the God who made us, the creator of everything, that God, he's good. He is good. He is a shepherd. He has mercy, and his mercy is everlasting. He doesn't have a short fuse or a small wick. Like this God has mercy that goes for days, and this is our God. And we should thank him for that. We should praise him for that, right? And no better demonstration of the goodness and the love and the mercy of God has there ever been than the cross, where God puts his love and his mercy on display, and he dies for us. He dies in our place for our sins. He is buried and he raises from the dead, and he offers graciously and mercifully to anyone who will call on his name and accept him as Savior life and liberty and forgiveness of sins and redemption and adoption and a home in heaven. And like this is the God that David is talking about. This is the God that we worship, a God who is good and gracious and merciful. We will talk about singing and service in a moment, but you have to start here. It is the goodness of God that fuels our service. Like this is the engine that drives all of our singing and all of our service to God. We first have to start with our identity. And there's a natural, I think, question from the heart that should pop up. That is, if there is a God who made me and I'm not my own, and if he's good and gracious and he loves me, then how can I love him back? Like, what would the Lord require of me? Psalm 116 says it this way, "What shall I render unto the Lord for all his benefits towards me?" That God has taken a dump truck load of benefits and backed it up on my lawn and piled them on. What should I do because of that? What should I render to God because of that? Like, what should my response be? And this gives you two things that you need to do. What is most pronounced in the psalm is that we should sing. Verse number 1 tells us that we should make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all you lands. The end of verse 2 tells us, come before his presence with singing. Verse 4 tells us to enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise and be thankful unto him and bless his name. There is nothing that is moderate about these words. When it tells you to make a joyful noise, when it tells you to come before his presence with singing, he is asking you to raise the roof on your praise. Like to sing to him, to call to him, to shout to him. You can't read this and come away with the impression that we should sing to him like wooden Indians, standing here with our hands in our pockets, mumbling the words, barely thinking about what we're singing, with a deadpan face. Like, you do not get that impression at all when you read this. You get the impression that people are happy and joyful, they're filled with gladness, and they are ready to worship and to sing and even make some noise. How many of you, when you were a child, or maybe not just a child, maybe now as an adult, people told you that you were loud? You were a loud kid, you're a loud person. How many of you are loud? I'm not going to make fun of you, okay? We'll leverage this for good. Any loud people, okay? You just got volume. Use your inside voice. This is my inside voice, right? Listen, those of you that are loud, take heart in these verses right here, because the volume of worship this is calling for is loud. The idea is that God has his hand on the volume knob and he's cranking it up. This make a joyful noise is rightfully interpreted by pretty much everyone as a noise, as something that is big and bombastic and forceful. And it's a shout triumphantly, like give it some effort, like give some noise. Israel took this to heart. The children of Israel were known for this volume of worship in the temple that was like legendary. It was not quiet, still. Sure, there are those moments that we need. And yes, there is the still small voice of God that we need to quiet down and listen to, but there is time and place, and a lot of it, for the church and the people of God to sing his praises with a smile on their face, joyfully, gladly, triumphantly, loudly, to like let her rip. To just sing it out with all that you got, to give it everything that you have. I love these notes of joy and gladness that are just nestled all through this little 5-verse psalm. You know, the world, when they think of the church, cynically, they oftentimes would describe the church as something other than that. Maybe they would describe us as ignorant or judgmental or lame or boring. But God describes the worship of his people as something that is filled with joy and gladness and thanksgiving and praise. And that makes sense. Like when you get the truth of God and the truth of the gospel seeped into your bloodstream, you can't help but to have notes of joy and gladness. When you begin to understand, like, he made me. I didn't make myself, but when he made me, he's good and he's a shepherd. He has a heart for me. He has mercy for me. When you begin to understand that about God, it should induce and produce praise in you. You should want to sing, and you should want to sing loudly and tell God that you love him. A.W. Tozer was known for saying that God wants worshipers before he wants workers. That yes, he does indeed want workers, but the acceptable workers are only those who have learned the art of worship. And I think he's spot on. There is this kind of sequencing that's supposed to happen where you understand who God is, you know who he is, you begin to worship him from the heart, but all that singing isn't just the only thing that you are called to do in the psalm. You are also called to serve. Verse number 2 puts it as, serve the Lord with gladness. There are a couple translations, very few, almost every translation translates this as serve the Lord with gladness. The NIV and a couple others say worship the Lord with gladness, which is really a lazy translation. The word is serve. Serve the Lord with gladness. That spirit of joyfulness that should possess us is not just something for our praise and our worship and our singing, but is also something that should be for our service. That we are not to be the junior hire who is tasked with a job at home, who we drag our feet, hands in our pockets, I guess so, if I have to. That's not us. The idea isn't that God is just commanding us to do something so it's drudgery and I guess we just have to do it because he made me after all and he gets to call the shots. I'm not my own. No, that's not the heartbeat. The heartbeat is, God, you made me and you love me, and in so many ways you serve me. You've given me so many benefits. You came to earth, you humbled yourself, you died for me. I mean, what greater service could you give than to lay down your life for someone? If you did all this for me, what do you want? I want you to serve me back. Okay, I'm happy to reciprocate. In the same way that if someone gives you a Christmas present, you want to give them one back. God has given you and served you and blessed you. So how can I serve and bless you? And how can I do it joyfully? If you, for the joy that was set before you, endured the cross, if you did that, thinking of the joy that was there in the cross, then certainly I can serve some coffee to people or be in the nursery or go work in a kids' church or go on a mission trip, or I can serve you in some way, and I can do it gladfully and joyfully. The beauty of this is that we are supposed to enter into service with gladness, but when you serve, serving has a way of actually producing more gladness. Like it will actually begin to replicate itself as you serve. That is a joy-inducing activity. I experienced this just this last week as we went to Honduras and served. We've spent the last 9 days, a team of us, and there's a smattering. I feel like I have best friends now in the crowd this morning who I just spent a week with. And we went gladly. Like no one signed up for that trip. No one was forced to. No one was blackmailed. Like everyone paid their money. Everyone got time off of work, did our stuff. We all went gladfully. We knew that it was going to be long travel hours and that it would be hot and there would be all kinds of things happening. But we were all happy to do it. But it was amazing. By the end of the week, as we had served and served and served and served, there was more joy and more gladness and even lighter steps and so much more in our hearts because we served. We had an unbelievable trip. If you don't know what we did, it was a medical missions trip. There was about 20 from our church. The backbone of our trip is doctors and PAs and nurses and surgeons. And then there were a handful that are like me that don't have any medical training, but we were just there to be happy helpers. And there were about 20 from our church, and then there was another 30 or so from some other churches that kind of came from all over the country, and we all converged on Honduras and had a couple missionary churches that were there to host us and leverage us and set up shop. We had a medical clinic and an optical clinic, and then a couple surgery ORs happening and surgeries happening. And by the end of the week, and this is where we're celebrating, okay? Get ready, get your hands ready, okay? Because you're gonna have to clap. We saw 1,678 patients, performed 30 surgeries, all free of charge, and saw 58 people put their trust in Jesus by the end of the week. It was an amazing time. It was an amazing time. I got to serve in the optical clinic, and I've been to an eye doctor one time in my life. I don't need it. I don't know anything. But they gave me the auto refractor, this mobile auto refractor that measures like what prescription you need. By the end of the week, I knew what all the numbers went, but starting out, I had no idea. And I'm measuring people's eyes and writing down their stuff and sending them over. And we have, just tables full of glasses that have been donated. Some of you have donated glasses to medical missions, and we had those. We probably had, thousands of pairs of glasses. And we take their prescription and try to find the best match, not always an exact match, but as good as we could. And then would take them over and they'd try them on and people's vision would get better. And someone on our team said it was like Christmas morning. It was like people that could see better all the time and just smiles on their faces. But my singular kind of person that just gripped my heart was this 25-year-old girl. Most people in Honduras, pretty much everyone, has these real dark brown eyes and smaller. And she came in just these large, just piercing green eyes. Her eyes just looked different. And I'm measuring her with my auto refractor, and it wouldn't measure. The auto refractor will go up to a plus or minus 10 differential. And those of you that have glasses, you may know your prescription. Like I'm, plus 2.5 or something like that. Pretty much everyone's, plus a half to maybe plus 3. I measured a handful of people that were plus 5. 2 people were plus 7 on the week, and it wouldn't measure her because she was off the chart, literally. 25 years old, and began to talk with her through an interpreter. And, hey, have you ever seen an eye doctor? Have you ever worn glasses? No. Her test coming in was 20 over 100 because she couldn't read the top line, which to me was like a billboard. Like, it was so big to me. but she could not read the top line of the eye chart. And we began to try to find some glasses that would help her. And I mean, they were like Coke bottles, to tell you the truth. I mean, the prescription was so heavy to try to help her. And it was amazing. It was so amazing to watch her not just put the glasses on and begin to read the chart and go down the lines, but what got me was we turned the camera on and turned it around, and she saw herself. Not just in her glasses, she saw herself. And it hadn't dawned on me, she had never seen herself. She didn't know what she looked like. And it was awesome. It produced joy. So much joy. When you serve, not every patient was that way, okay? Some patients were there to get their third pair of glasses because they wanted to sell them to someone else. Not everyone was that story. Not every day that you serve is it just amazing, cloud nine, like sunshine breaking through the clouds and God talks to you or something. But when you serve, and when you serve consistently, man, God meets you and he talks to you. And not only do you do it gladly, but you get more glad as you go along. I don't know, this is not a plug for mission trips per se, and that it's not like a mission trip Sunday. October's coming, that'll be missions month, but I will put a small plug in. If you don't have your passport, go get your passport. We take a handful of trips every year. Go on one of these trips with us. It's amazing. It's amazing. God designed us to worship something bigger than ourselves. God designed us to serve other people. We're happiest when we do. That's why today we have a ministry fair. I think most of you knew the ministry fair was coming because you're on the emails, or you've heard the announcements. For the majority of you, it's not a surprise that there's like tables all over the concourse this morning. But for some of you, if you're like, I don't know what's happening, there's tables and balloons, there's all kinds of stuff happening out here when I walked in the door, not to mention all the construction. There's a ministry fair today. Why are we doing a ministry fair? Well, we want to try to help you. We want to give you easy on-ramps into serving. As your pastor, I can't make you serve. I can't twist your arm. I can try to give you compelling reasons. I can try to show you that you should from the scriptures. And we're going to do our dead level best to make that accessible and to give you, kind of do away with some of the excuses and give you multiple opportunities and kind of a portfolio of options to choose from. And we'll do our best to, you don't have to go sign a blood covenant. You can just put your name down and get some information, and we'll explain it and answer your questions and tell you kind of what the expectations are. And then if that sounds good, you can go test drive it for a little bit and try it out. We'll try to make it as easy as possible on you to help you serve, but you got to serve. There should be some kingdom responsibility that on a weekly basis, at least on a monthly basis, that you're shouldering and you're saying, you know what, I'm not just taking in, I'm not a spiritual Dead Sea that takes in and never gives out. People pour into me and people make coffee for me and greet me and someone prepares music for me and preaches to me and does this stuff. I want to do that for somebody else. I want to be a blessing. I want to serve. We'll explain more about it at the end. The end of our service will be different, and we've made things a little bit shorter today. We didn't have the choir. I know some of you were disappointed. Probably all of us were disappointed because the choir sings every week. But we shortened things up a little bit to give you some time to go explore the ministry fair this morning. But we want to get this in front of you and help you understand what it is to serve. Now, there's two dangers I want to give you when it comes to service that I think you need to be aware of. Danger one is to overanalyze things. I know some of you well enough to know that you're thinkers and you're planners and you're strategic, and you don't want to put yourself in a spot where you're going to feel uncomfortable or just what's going on, I want all my questions answered. And that's good. We're here. We want to answer your questions. We want to help you. We want to get you plugged in. But if you're not careful, you can have paralysis by analysis. If you're not careful, you can think and pray and fast and talk to your therapist and think and pray some more and think and pray some more. And 6 months have gone by and you're not plugged in anywhere, serving anywhere. And to serve somewhere is better than serving nowhere. While you think about the perfect fit, go jump in somewhere that's not the perfect fit. Maybe it will be. You may hit the jackpot. Who knows? But go serve. You can't overanalyze this. You also can't over-specialize. This is one that I see in churches all the time, where people will refuse to serve because what is available is not their one specific niche ministry that they feel gifted in. You ever met that person who's like, well, if you have a puppet show for 4-year-olds between 10:30 and 11, then I'm your person. But other than that, like I only do puppet shows and I only do them for 4-year-olds and I don't want to do them too early or too late. So if you have that, I'm in. But if not, then that's really how I serve the Lord. Like, don't do that, okay? We are a family, are we not? We're a church family. We're a faith family. As a family, I've learned this in my own family. There are some jobs that need doing that nobody seems to have a specialty in. You ever notice that? At my house, the trash needs taken out. Not one of the 6 of us, me, my wife, nor any one of my 4 kids. Apparently, God did not ordain them with the gift of taking out the trash. No one feels called to it. No one feels led to it. No one feels specialized in it. Like, God did not endow them with a spiritual gift that is the trash. No one has it. But guess what? Somebody has to do it, right? You think a church family is any different? There are some things that just need doing that you may not feel like, well, I'm particularly gifted or particularly love. And to be clear, we don't want you to serve as drudgery. We want you to find joy in it. We want you to feel like it fits you. Like, we could take this too far, and we're not. Like, if you are an introvert, you don't have to become an extrovert, okay? If you're happy on the inside, but your face doesn't know it, then don't go be a greeter, okay? Like, we need smiley people to greet people. Okay? But if you're like, well, I know, I don't want to talk to people. Okay, you could be in the nursery in the corner with a little infant and you could hold them and just spend your time there. Well, I hate babies. Or maybe you don't hate babies, but you're living in baby land right now. Like, moms, I get that. Some of you moms, you got 3 kids that are 4 years of age and under, and you're like, I don't need another kid in my life right now. I want to break from kids. Fantastic. There's an AVL ministry, and you can sit behind a computer, and no one will talk to you. They'll only look at you if you do something wrong, and then everyone will stare at you. But I'm just kidding, kind of. Isn't that right, AVL guys? There's so many things, right? There's so many things. You don't have to go somewhere that's just absolutely not a fit for you, but don't be so unbelievably specific that you paint yourself into a corner that now you can't go serve anywhere. Like, if it needs doing, just go do it. Sign up for it. We put on your list today, you got a little ministry menu when you came in that has 10 different ministries, and there's 10 different tables out there. All of these are ministries that could use help. Like, we have some ministries that really, they're pretty staffed and they're pretty good right now. We did not put those in front of you. It doesn't do us any good if you're like, I want to serve there. And we're like, no, I'm sorry, we don't need you. Like, all of these, I'm thinking about some of these, like our AVL and social media team. Like, they do so much as a media team right now, but I'm thinking about our new building that we're going to be in here in a few months, and we're going to need roughly 50% more people. Like, there's a lot more that's going to happen in that new building. And like, if you know tech, if you're young, if you're not threatened by your smartphone and you can remember your passwords, like if that's you, then you can go. Like, sign up for that. Like, oh, I don't know that particular software. We'll teach you. Like, panning the camera isn't that hard. There's a little bit you got to learn, but you'll get used to it. Like, sign up for that. Our choir, our orchestra, thinking about our facilities and grounds. Some of these teams are like bottomless. Some of them are 100 deep. There's 100 people that are serving in these teams, but like, it could go to 150 tomorrow and it would be fine. I think about our music. Our music they do a great job every single week, the choir and the orchestra. But some of these are like, we will gladly put some more people in there. And we got an even bigger choir loft that's coming here in a few months. Like, there's so many ways that you can serve. Do not miss both the command. Let's not miss that God commands us to, okay? Let's not sell it short. It is a requirement that God is expecting of us, but it is something that is good for us and healthy for us and ultimately joy-inducing. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that you have to have this one specific thing, right? Well, I do that, but it's not as public. It doesn't have as much sizzle. It's not as much fun. Just go serve. Just go serve. It may even be a little outside of your comfort zone. It was literally outside of my comfort zone to try to measure people's eyes this week and get them hooked up with glasses. I did not know what I was doing. It wouldn't have been my first choice. But somebody needed to do it. And you know what? It was great. It all worked out. At least I think so. They said that they could see better. I think we're doing good. Go serve. Here's the point. This psalm, it's 5 verses, but it is jam-packed with some powerful truths. God made you. You are not your own. But he didn't make you and he's just this dictator. No, he's a loving, good, merciful shepherd. But he expects you to reciprocate in some way, shape, or form. You say, what way, shape, or form? Well, to sing to him, to praise him, to bless his name, to be thankful, but also to serve him. To take your life and to take your time and to spend it in ways that aren't about you, but are about his name and his glory and other people. This is part of how we love God with all we have all the time and how we love our neighbor as ourselves. We serve them in the name of Jesus. That's what that is.
I pray that today's message challenged and encouraged you in your walk with Christ. And if this sermon was a blessing to you, know that it was made available because of our financial partners. I want to take a moment and invite you to be a part of that tribe. I know not everyone's in a position to give, and if that's you, then please just let this broadcast be a blessing. There are no strings attached. But if God's blessed you with the ability to give, I would love for you to link arms with us and support what God is doing here. As a small way of saying thank you for your generosity, I'd love to send you a copy of my new book, The Prayer Jesus Gave. This is a guided tour through the model prayer, the Our Father, as some call it. And if you've ever felt like your prayer life could use an upgrade, I know it will be a help. You can give and receive your copy at harvesttoyou.org/give or by mailing a donation to the address on your screen. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Sunday.